welcome back to my channel. So before I dive into this, I want to apologize for the way that my voice sounds. I'm struggling so bad with allergies this year. I've either had a runny nose or my eyes have been bloodshot and watery in videos, or my throat like now feels like it is closing up on me. I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best to truck through this and still get videos out, even though my voice keeps cracking like I'm going through puberty as a teenage male. So moving on, today's video is a long-awaited updates video, and I've been meaning to get this out for a while, but I was waiting for a few key points to be hopefully released. If you don't follow me on any other social media, I always update you guys almost instantly when big developments happen in the cases that I've covered. But if you don't follow me on other forms of social media, then I have some huge updates and advancements and pretty large cases that I have covered. One of them is actually really near and dear to my heart, and I'll explain that when I get there. But for now, I'm going to start off with the smaller updates for other cases. And the first update is Kelsey Schelling. So if you don't remember this particular case, first of all, I will have it linked down below. If I forget, please let me know in the comment section. But Kelsey Schelling was the young mom. She had just figured out that she was pregnant, and her boyfriend was the star basketball player and kind of the main person of interest when she disappeared. I know I've mentioned that Dante was being charged with the murder of Kelsey Schelling a few videos back, update videos, but he is officially going to trial for Kelsey's murder and essentially the murder of this unborn baby. So just this past Thursday, there was a hearing to see if there was enough evidence to go through with this trial, and the judge said that there was, and it is like the largest breath of fresh air for the Schelling family, because you guys know how difficult it is to charge when there is no body alone, but for a trial to even continue after that, you know, a lot of the times it just doesn't happen. And I'm so interested to see how this goes, because there's clearly much more than they have announced evidence-wise that we aren't even aware of. But the preliminary hearing is set to start on August 28th, and then we'll see how the trial goes. I will keep you guys updated. So the next update is on Jabez Spann. Jabez was the young man that went missing from Sarasota, Florida. He went missing Labor Day weekend, and he has not been seen since. He might have witnessed a murder. There's a lot of different things going around in this case. But recently, a witness came forward saying that they saw Jabez Spann at 1 a.m. on the 4th. So literally just a few hours before he was reported missing, which would make this the official last sighting of Jabez. So that's a huge deal for many reasons, but it's even a bigger deal because he was seen on MLK Road Boulevard, not sure which one, with two other young men. And one of these young men the family knows, and the other young man is unidentified still. Now, they're hoping that these boys will talk a little bit, this unidentified male will come forward, because as I said, they're possibly the last ones to be with Jabez Spann and at least see him. And authorities are hoping that maybe they'll come forward with information like, did he go to see somebody else? Did he get in the car with somebody? Did he say what his plans were going to be after that? Because that could lead authorities to a lot of answers. I personally find it very strange that these two young men didn't come forward first, unless they had a reason to be scared to come forward. You know, it's obviously possible that maybe drugs were involved, or it was a fun weekend that happens. A lot of kids will just hang out and smoke weed. You know, you never know. So it could be something as simple as that, or they were just scared to put themselves in an investigation because they are probably around his age, which is very young. Or we just might not have all the details and they maybe did come forward, but they just didn't have relevant information at first. Not sure, but either way, this could be huge steps in Jabez Spann's case. So this next one is very heartbreaking for me for many different reasons, and I'm going to be speaking about Ashanti Billy, and she was the young woman that went missing in Virginia, and her body was found behind a church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, her murderer was caught pretty fast, or who is being charged with her murder. And he was a retired veteran. He, you know, was a homeless man at this point. His name is Eric Brown. And unfortunately, he has been diagnosed with schizophrenia. We know that he was sent to a medical facility to be checked to see if he was competent enough to stand trial. And as I said, he was in fact diagnosed with schizophrenia. So that makes him not competent to stand trial, which I'm not sure what that means exactly in Ashanti Billy's case. the family strongly believes that there will still be, justice for Ashanti, that those responsible, this man, Eric Brown, if he is in fact fully charged with it, that, everything will go as it's supposed to. But I'm just not sure. There's going to be a hearing this Thursday, so the day after you're seeing this video, to see if he should forcibly be given antipsychotic medication. Apparently his doctor said there were a few really dangerous instances that have deemed him a serious threat to himself and others. I think he was flailing chains at his doctors and nurses and people in his cell, trying to basically escape, I'm pretty sure it was, or gain control of the situation, as they called it. But, while some people might think that might possibly benefit him, it could also affect the trial, and antipsychotic medications can severely impact a person permanently negatively sometimes. So right now, the Ashanti Billy case, there's just a lot going on with Eric Brown, so I'm not sure what this means for the trial, but again, I will keep you updated. Now to the two very big updates on cases, and I'm going to start with Elizabeth Salgado. Now, this is one of my most watched videos. It's one that I was very dedicated and put my heart into. You guys ask me about her all the time. There are people from the area who said they still see her posters up. But unfortunately, on May 18th, Elizabeth Salgado's remains were found in Hobble Creek Canyon. From what I have seen, a man was just driving through, had to use the restroom or something of the sort, got out of the car, went into some bushes, and stumbled across her remains. So it seems to me they're relatively close to a road. Authorities have still not released the exact location to protect the integrity of the case, but they obviously started a massive search. It was a very extensive search of the entire area. I think they even brought in a special firefighter unit to check other areas that were very difficult for them to check, just to collect anything they possibly could. From what they saw right away, the bones don't appear to have any sort of trauma or damage to them, which usually, at least in the cases that I have seen, leads to an undetermined cause of death. And so far, they have not released the cause of death. I know it is being seen as a homicide investigation. They have no suspects, but ever since they announced all of this information, they have received a ton of tips. So hopefully that means there will be full closure for this case soon. Everyone in her family obviously was notified. We all know that her parents do live in Mexico, and so they had to be told over the phone. I'm not sure if they have come up here. I know that the mother is in a ton of distress right now. There was a period of time where she, I think, was refusing fully to believe that the remains were Elizabeth's, but they have in fact been 100% identified as hers. So hopefully this family at this point can just focus on trying to move forward and figure out what exactly happened to Elizabeth, because the drive from where she was last known to be, walking home from school, to Hobble Creek Canyon is only about 15 to 25 minutes, so it more than likely was someone in the area, someone that knew her pretty well. It's just a heartbreaking and sick situation, because this poor girl was trying so hard to do better in her life and to really progress, and she was living in the United States for the first time and enjoying something new and all these new possibilities, and it was taken away from her. And I just really hope whoever's responsible is brought down for what they did. So now on to the very last update, and this one is the one that when I found this out, I just sat in bed that night and stared at the wall, because everything about this is just absolutely unbelievable to me, and that is the case of Evie Stepik. So if you don't remember Evie Stepik, but if you've been on my channel for a while, I know for a fact you do. She was the young woman who went missing in Little Rock, Arkansas. The Little Rock Police Department, was really put through the ringer for their lack of effort in her case. It was thought that trafficking was involved. There were 4 males that sexually assaulted her and filmed it. The day that she went missing, actually, she was planning on going to report them. It was a big mess. Her car was found in a parking lot, and that particular park and the parking lot was searched extensively. There were multiple cadaver dogs. There were multiple searches. Private investigators went out there. It was a place that was thoroughly searched by everyone, including family, and no one really expected her to be there. We know it was the last place she was seen, but it's a small enough area to where if she was going to be there, you would assume you would find her. Something led authorities to search that area again, and there was a drain that was leading from, and I'll put a picture up here, the parking lot is kind of shaped like a horseshoe in a way. There's a section of it that's blocked off so you can't get to the lower portion of the parking lot. But there's a drain that runs from the very top where her car was parked all the way to the bottom, and there was a blockage in the drain. So authorities wanted to check it out, and when they went down in the drain, they did find remains, and they were positively identified as Ebby's remains. They haven't announced a cause of death. I'm sure that will come within the next month, maybe a couple of weeks at this point. This all was discovered, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, around the same time as Elizabeth Salgado, because I found out about Ebby Stepik one night, spent half the night up, incredibly upset, and then woke up the next morning and was told about Elizabeth Salgado. At this point, I'm assuming, again, unless there's trauma to Ebby's bones, that this will also be ruled an undetermined cause of death. But authorities apparently did find something, some bit of evidence by the bones, and not to sound incredibly graphic, but someone had to have shoved her body in this drain after murdering her. And, you know, I'm hoping when they did that, because this is a female, this is like a full-grown female, that probably was a difficult task to do. I'm hoping something slipped off of them. Did they rip their shirt? Did they do something? Something was found, and I'm so interested in knowing what it is. I know that it's been sent off for forensic testing, and now the case is being refocused, and the 4 boys that they totally let go essentially at the beginning of the investigation are being re-questioned 100%. I'm just so incredibly irritated for Ebby's family right now, because the whole issue surrounding her case was police negligence, and this police department screwed up so badly, you guys. You know, cadaver dogs had been there and they didn't sniff her out, but you know, why not think to check that pipe to begin with if you know it's there? If, you know, I don't understand it. I don't get it. You know, it is so incredibly frustrating, and private investigators and everyone that's looked into this case since she was found have said if police had done what they were supposed to the first time around, she would have been found. You know, this whole process didn't have to be prolonged this much. This family didn't have to go not knowing at least where their daughter was for so long. All of this potentially could have been solved fairly quickly had they just done their job, and they didn't, and it pisses me off so bad, and it makes me hurt so bad for Ebby's family and everyone. They now have to realize that they were probably standing over her body, distraught, wondering where she was, and she was right underneath them. And thanks to police negligence, she just was not found for years. There were even reports from people in the neighborhood that a strange smell was coming from this pipe. Multiple reports. There was some sort of 911 phone call about it. Authorities had what they needed to search. They just were too freaking lazy to do it, and that breaks my freaking heart in half. You guys know that when I first announced my initial merchandise, all of you out there, if you're wearing that shirt right now, the one that says Hallan Fam on it, all proceeds from that shirt went to 3 separate families. One of those families was Ebby Stepik's family, to aid in investigative efforts, and I swore she was going to be out there. I really honestly did. I thought they were going to find her alive. I thought it was human trafficking. I don't know. So I remember her mom being so incredibly grateful for that money, and the fact that people cared enough, knowing they were donating to that, and, you know, knowing they were helping possibly an investigation, and, you know, it's never going to be easy to speak on these cases and speak to these parents and then to find out later on that, you know, remains have been found. It's not going to get easier at this point. I've determined that. But to me, we have this special connection with this case. Anyone who has this shirt, anyone who, you know, really felt for this video and this family and Abby herself, there's just this really deep connection with it. And it was heartbreaking to find this information out. So I would just like to end this video asking you guys to keep Abby Stepek's family and Elizabeth Salgado's family in your thoughts and prayers if you pray. I will have all information, as always, linked down below to how you can report anything on any of these cases. Keep all of you updated, especially on my social media, if there are any new things that come out on any of these cases that I've spoken about. But I want to thank you guys really quickly for your constant support of this channel. I'm about to hit my 1-year mark, and the fact that in just the past month I've had multiple cases that I've covered solved, it's just been mind-blowing to me, and it's added, I think, this whole new depth to my channel and my own experience when it comes to covering these cases, and it's been very difficult. And I want to thank you guys because, you know, while I know the chances that my channel or speaking of these stories really does anything to solve a case, it's just nice to know that there are people out there. I've got almost 200,000 subscribers that care enough that might spread this information, that might lead to something that might help these families. And I think that's absolutely awesome. And I am so humbled to be able to even be doing this to begin with. And so I just want to say thank you really quickly. But I'll stop rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to become a part of the Hallan fam, so hopefully we can bring them home together. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.